everyone. This is Jackie Cooper with CryptoMom2 and Talk Show and the Blockchain Legal Institute. I'd like to thank everyone for hopping on today and also always remind you to like and subscribe because we have a lot of wonderful conversations that I'm in the process of editing, and I definitely want you to be able to enjoy all the people that I've been meeting. So today I have a special guest that I'll introduce in a second that I met at the Toronto Blockchain Futurist Conference. And that was a phenomenal conference that brought people from around the world in all different parts of the blockchain, from the metaverse to NFTs to Web3 to you name it. Everyone was there talking, interacting, and sharing what they do. And I was very excited to meet this individual because of the creativity that he is both doing with himself as well as with others. And I want to also just share that I'll have all the links so that way you can check out the art and any other way that we decide that you want to communicate with him or with myself. They'll be in the blog below. So if you do not have paper and pen, don't worry, just come back to this episode. And if you are on the audio side, I would recommend that you hop on over to the YouTube side of CryptoMom2 because we're going to be sharing some work and you're going to want to enjoy the art. So for those that are new to CryptoMom2, a little bit of background about me. I am an educator and I'm also a lawyer, but I'm also a creative entrepreneur. So what I mean by that is every time that I learn about a space and a vertical within the blockchain, I usually try to get my hands dirty and understand more about it. So for example, I'm a Bitcoin miner. I'm also a node operator. But I also have learned how to do, I'm not saying it's very good, but I've learned how to create NFTs and work within this space as well. So because as an educator, I want to be able to share with others how to do these things. That's why I'm also learning. And I also get mentored by people in the space, just like the individual who I'm talking with today, because we can always learn from others who are doing so much in our community. So that's why I'm very grateful that he hopped on. And he's actually, I'm here in the States right now, even though we met in Toronto, he's actually in Thailand. So we're really talking from around the world, and I think it's really exciting. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Doing well. Thank you
So
for hopping on. I know it's very early in the morning for you.
it is, but these type of conversations always empower me, and I'm always excited to learn more about what individuals like yourself are doing in this space. So you have on the screen, for those that are on the audio side, you might not see, so I'll just share. You have on the screen Goat Studio. I love the name. Can you give us a little history as to why Goat Studio? What made you decide to kind of go that name route? I know I can take the name. I created CryptoMom2 because of the fact that I stepped into the space when I bought my first altcoin. But why Goat Studio?
Actually, the name itself came about in a little bit random way. We were starting, I wanted to start an Instagram channel. It was a few years back and wanted a name, and everything was more or less taken. And so I had an intern at the time whom I asked to test different Instagram names, and she came up with a list of a few of them, and one of them was NFT Gold. And I thought, okay, this is fine. Let's just go with it temporarily. And then, as you may be aware, how some temporary things have a tendency to stick around. And so I've later came up with some kind of like rationale and story of why Goat Studio, and the name stuck around, and I've kind of like rationalized it to myself. Like Goat is, if spelled with capital letters, greatest of all times, which I definitely not claim to be, but it serves as a kind of like guidepost of being better every day, doing your best every day.
I love it.
And then also, being a greatest of all time version of yourself, right? And not in comparison to anyone else. So that's how I've rationalized it in retrospect, but name did come about quite randomly and it stuck around.
I think that's a wonderful message to have because again, we're about empowerment within this space and helping others dream and also evolve. You know, we're always trying to do better and reach out to others. So I think that that's great. So the art galleries and NFTs and Goat Studio. I know at the Blockchain Futurist event, you were, and I'll share in a second the visuals, but you were you know, talking about how to use art, how to create a gallery. So why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about what you were doing at the Blockchain Futurist conference, and you know, where, and also where you're going to be next, because I know that you're you do a lot of different things.
Yeah, so just a bit of history of what Goat Studio eventually came to represent in the world is we started as just as a way to create exposure for NFT art and as a way to like get more people to see digital art in the form of NFTs, usually as it happens to evolve in recent years, right? And that gradually but quite quickly evolved into the idea of creating real world galleries of digital art, right? So we produced the first NFT digital gallery in Toronto in November 2021. It was at Stocked Market in partnership with Crybaby Gallery, who had the space for several months and gave us graciously 2 weeks to display this really wacky, unconventional way to do the gallery on digital screens. So we had 8 digital screens, and I curated a broad show of crypto art just to showcase in broad strokes like the diversity of digital art, from the OG of NFT art such as Xcopy, Hakadao, and others, to blue chip PFP projects, CryptoPunks, VFriends was big at the time, Bored Apes and so on, to like generative art, to up and coming various style artists. So that was a quite a broad show that we didn't know what to expect. Will anyone care? Will anyone pay attention? But to our surprising delight, quite a lot of people came to see the art. We had an opening party which was well attended and over attended. This was the tail end of COVID. As you may remember, November 2021, people were still a bit hesitant to come out. I think everyone was required to wear masks indoor. But despite all that, we had quite a big turnaround, and people were really curious, paying attention, scanning QR codes, checking out the art. A lot of conversations were had, and a lot of actually new relationships were initiated at that party, because I had people coming up to me in subsequent events, of which we have done since then more than 20 this pop-up galleries.
I love it. I love it.
Bringing the digital art to the real world, right? And people will come up to me and saying, "Oh, I met my co-founder at your such and such previous event," and that's a great testament of how the real world events are important. And for me, that's been my passion from the beginning, is to bring the NFT art, the digital art, into the real world and to get more people exposed to it and appreciate it, right? And for the digital art to take its rightful place in the modern art, right? So that's what we've been doing. And you mentioned the futurist. That was our second year in a row producing the NFT gallery for the future blockchain futurist conference. So we did one last year, and this year it was our largest gallery to date. We had 42 screens kindly provided to us by metaseal.io. I just want to give a shout out to them. They've been very kind in providing the screens, 42 digital screens, with over 100 artists. So you see here, we had an open call. The theme was Art of the Future. We had
Yep.
an open call and artists from all over the world participating, and we've selected just over 100 artists to be ultimately displayed at the blockchain futurist NFT gallery.
I know for those that are on the audio side, I'm scrolling on down just because there's so much great artwork that's here. And the idea of, here's a picture of, the some of the screens with the art being projected. I like the idea of bringing what's online to people who are, like you said, in real life, so that way they can actually understand the creativity that might be on a space that they would not have normally explored. So when you organize this, how do you decide which artists to have within the gallery, or how do you curate it? What are your thoughts for that?
Yeah, curation is always tough because especially for big events like this, you get a lot of qualified submissions, and then you have to select uh, much fewer of them. So it's it's based, broadly speaking, on importantly following the theme, and the theme was in this case art of the future, which is open for artist interpretation, whatever they might think that can represent the theme, right, of what art of the future may look like. And then the uniqueness of style, the, you know, you can see the style honed over the years of hard work, right? Like when artist style is recognizable without mistake. So we always see for some uniqueness of style, and then uh, different mediums, different genres being represented. So it was uh, some a bit broad on purpose because we wanted to represent the diversity of art that exists out there, the digital art or the physical art represented as NFTs. So that's how we curated the show. But curating is always a bit tough.
It would be, because there's a lot of artists that are already online. And so, everyone would like to be within an NFT gallery that's physical as well as online. So are you, I know you go to different conferences. Where do you think you might be going next? So that way, you can actually, people can actually visit.
Actually, next we are not going anywhere, but
Okay.
instead I think we're gonna be bringing the world to us. Actually, we are opening the first permanent digital gallery in Canada. I believe, until someone proves me wrong, I'm gonna claim this title. The first digital art gallery in Canada, which will be opening hopefully at the end of September. So roughly in about a month from now in Toronto, which is our hometown. So that's what's next. That's the big one that we are focusing 100% on at the moment.
I will, it will be exciting when you have that open. How how can people reach you? And if they want to submit art, NFT art for consideration for you, or they want to find, what you're doing, why don't you go ahead and share, that the link so people can reach out to you.
Yeah, I think the best way is to follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Those are the two platforms we use very actively. Um, we don't have a website at the moment. That's going to be next for us once we are done with the gallery um, to develop, because now we definitely will need a website. But we always post every show that we produce on Instagram or Twitter, and some shows are curated by invitation only, and some of them are quite often. I would say most of them we do an open call for, and that's where artists can submit their work and be considered to be a part of the show.
So definitely, you and I will be staying in contact. As you have open calls, definitely share with me so that way I can also share across my social media for those that are following me, who might want to participate, because I think this is really exciting. As an educator too, I want to encourage more of the youth to also participate in this medium, because I think that they can do physical art and then move it to the digital, or vice versa. And so, again, I'm always trying to encourage them to explore different mediums. Are you what but that brings me to another question. Have you found that there seems to be a certain age of artists that you've been coming across, or what's the youngest, what's the oldest artist that you've kind of worked with or had in your gallery?
Actually, um, we represent one artist who is 75 years old, and he is one of the pioneers of generative art. So he
Wow,
was making computer art in early 70s
amazing.
using those perforated cards and plotter printer to produce computer generated art. So he's like truly one of the pioneers of the medium, and to this day, and probably one of the very few uh, artists of that era who is still making art today. So he's still publishing his work on FX Hash, which is the quite popular generative art platform on Tezos blockchain. The so-called clean
Yeah.
NFTs, right? They branded themselves as clean NFTs in comparison to Ethereum, which at the time used proof of work um, protocol, which uses a lot of electricity to approve transactions, right? So yeah, he still actively publishes work on Tezos, on FX Hash, and as well as on Ethereum. So that's just to answer uh, on the spectrum of age. And the youngest artist, probably I don't know. I don't ask people for their
I
age,
know,
but
I know, I know.
probably like early 20s or late teens. Like we definitely have quite a vibrant community of young artists in Toronto who are actively participating in the scene, producing digital art or mixing mediums and coming up with different arts. So yes, I think that would be the range.
So, I know in my personal experience in dealing with NFTs, I got started because I have an aunt who's now 78, and I asked her if I could borrow a piece of her artwork to learn how to create an NFT, so that way I could actually help her sell her art. So I posted first, I guess it was about 2 years ago, on OpenSea, and then my Bitcoin Cinderella book actually was also uploaded as an NFT on OpenSea, even though there was a lot of struggles for us with that because of the volume of the size, and again, copyright and things like that. So it's an interesting space to both be, and there's a lot of digital physical works now that are now that the ability to create NFTs has changed and has evolved over time in terms of the technology and everything. So it's going to be very interesting to see what NFT art looks like, and how that kind of translates into other products like shirts and shoes and hats and bags. I don't know if in your gallery, if you're going to end up having merchandise associated with your NFTs, but that's a whole nother area.
Yeah, probably will. Why not? Definitely maybe have a mini gift store with some merchandise. But you're right. I mean, on some extreme end of things, some people believe like everything will be an NFT. I don't necessarily think that,
Yeah.
but I think we are just at the very beginning of the technology, and we are already seeing a lot of innovation in, particularly in art and how artists use the technology, how they mix different mediums. Um, and I think that's only going to keep developing, and we're going to be surprised time and again of the different innovations we will see.
So what made you decide to step into this space? You've talked about the gallery and everything, but what intrigued you to actually go this route?
Actually, that goes before the gallery. So we started Goat Studio and doing pop-up NFT galleries in November 2021. But before that, I was involved in NFTs since 2017. It was my first project called Hedgie, which is one of the first play to earn games. Um, we launched it in spring 2018, but started thinking about it in late fall 2017. And the instigator for that was that one famous day in late fall 2017 when Ethereum blockchain came to a halt. I don't know if you remember that, because people were breeding online cats. This is, of course, CryptoKitties famously breaking Ethereum for one day
Amazing.
because of the onslaught of people breeding cats. And so I think someone wrote about it, TechCrunch or one popular publication at the time wrote about it. That's how I found out about it. And I was like, what's going on here? It definitely captured in my mind and stopped me in my tracks, and I needed to find out what was happening. So I read up on it. Once I understood what was happening, and essentially that was the first time the Dapper Lab, which is the maker of CryptoKitties, they came up with this new protocol in Ethereum called ERC-721, which allowed definitive um, ability to mint unique digital assets on the blockchain. And of course, the NFTs go in the history of NFTs goes far beyond that. Before that, we had CryptoPunks, Mooncats, and many others. But CryptoKitties is what popularized this idea of actual NFT, non-fungible token, with a specific protocol on Ethereum, ERC-721. And so once I understood what's happening, immediately the light went on in my head, and I immediately thought that this is absolutely incredible, and and um, and the game changer, the ability to create and own unique digital assets. Like the first implication in my mind was gaming. You know how people upgrade the characters and like buy those skins online, but they never actually own it. And with NFTs now that completely changed. Like now you will actually be able to own your unique digital assets. And so that's how since then that made immediate sense. And since then I was captivated, and me and my friends started brainstorming and thinking about things, and we wanted to get involved, and that's slowly the idea of Hedgie came along, and we worked on and launched the game later in the spring of 2018.
So, do you want to show Edgy to so that way?
Yeah, let me share my screen and go to Hedgie.io. So this is the Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, I'm seeing your screen. It looks great.
So this is the hedgey website. Basically, you it's a game where you have your hedges. Each one is unique, and across 8 different powers, the 4 elements and the 4 skills, and that is determined by hedge's hex code. So each hedge has a hex code which determines its powers, and then as you play the game, you upgrade the levels and so on. And there's only two mechanics in the game. You can go on the journey. To one of the 4 worlds, and this is based on elements. And you can collect some loot and some curio coin, which is our native coin in the game, right? So I'm gonna send this hedgie on a 24-hour journey into the. Oh, I don't have enough energy for that. I'm gonna go on a 12-hour journey into the water world, and then so it's basically idle strategy game. There's not much going on visually, but you send the hedgie and then it comes back. So I think I had some hedges coming back, and then you want here that this hedgie came back from a previous journey. You unveiled the treasure, so I got some curio. I think my internet is a bit slow. Oh, there we go. I've got some water resource, and I gained some XP, and I got some alfalfa, which, we have this different loots that provide temporary boost, right? So
Nice.
man, I need to clean the house in order to increase my energy. See, the
Oh,
house
look,
got
it's so
dirty.
cute.
I'm gonna use the earth resource to clean the house. Okay, see, now that's a clean house, and my energy get back to the proper level so I can go on a longer journey.
Oh,
And
that's
then another dynamic is a battle. So it's PvP battle. I can challenge an opponent. Select a bet. I'm gonna bet 5 euro and challenge any opponent. If there is no opponent in the arena, then I'm just gonna wait for challenges. And later the battle will happen. I can review who won. And then importantly, the curio coin you make into the game, you can spend in the game on different things. But you can also spend it in our marketplace on NFT art. So this is,
interesting.
yeah, and I'm just gonna move to hide from the rain.
It's okay. It's okay.
But so while I'm moving, please continue.
Yeah, so so you have like an online gallery then even within here that people can look at. I know he's muted for those that are not on the visual side. He's moving in from the rain. So again, there's weather conditions all over the world.
Yes. Okay, so I'm under the covers. Yes, we built this marketplace. So because I have big passion for art, and our premise was always to have definite utility for the game coin, and for us it's discovering and purchasing NFT art. So on the artist side, we provide ability for extra exposure to list your art here and in our marketplace, and sell it for curio coin. And for our players, it's the opportunity to discover new art and to purchase new art with the coin they gained by playing the game. And you can see there's quite a bunch of diverse, beautiful art, and you can buy a hedgie itself also actually sold out.
Yeah, some of this art is just gorgeous. For everyone who's on the audio side, definitely hop on over here because it is just amazing. I mean, the variety of art that's here. That's amazing. For sure. All the links will be on our our conversation so people can explore both the edgy, as well as the galleries that your Instagram, and then when you have the links for your upcoming, well, we can re-embed the new ways that they can explore and find you. Any last minute thoughts before we sign off? Because again, I'm always blown away when I meet individuals and what they're doing. And you've given me a lot of creative ideas as to how I can share this with the individuals that I'm working with, both in schools as well as around the world. So any last minute thoughts that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think you're right, and like the opportunity is abundant in the space, and I think it's just um for people to carve their own path and find what resonates with them. For me, art has always been my passion, and so that's what I ended up doing in Web3 space. But yeah, I appreciate your time and what you're doing. I think you're doing great work.
Thank you.
I'm happy to chat with you.
Yeah, so for everyone who's listening, definitely, click on the links below, explore the art. When you definitely, I also want to encourage everyone to visit Blockchain Legal Institute. There is a free vertical slot, area where you can kind of explore different things, which includes events, so that way you can see where Goat Studio will be, or other events dealing with NFTs or Web3 or other, areas, from artificial intelligence to ETH Denver to you name it. But the other thing that I just want to encourage everyone is, even if you've never thought that you could be an artist on the online version of NFTs or Web3, um, check it out. Again, this is what it's amazing of the community, the blockchain world. Things are happening all around the world, and we can learn about other cultures and visit people, and our world is getting smaller and smaller. So as I say at the end of all my talks, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Again, we are very interconnected. We're all part of one world, and it is so much fun to explore and to reach out to others. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and stay tuned for more conversations. Bye, guys.